Platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733, 014-533-407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Yes, welcome again to our program Core Digest, and this morning we are looking at INEC in Ekiti, the implications for future elections. And we've heard people calling to express their views on what happened in Ekiti. Just before we went away, we were espousing the view that sometimes our electoral evolution, our electoral process sometimes needs the judiciary to attest the veracity of some of these issues we are just accepting. It happened in Anambra, and in one of today's papers, before we go in, the Business Day, for instance, did say the free and fair election that took place in Ekiti has been so acknowledged even by those who lost. It is simply unprecedented. The peaceful atmosphere that pervaded the election, the massive turnout of voters, cooperation of security agencies, and the superlative performance of the Independent National Electoral Commission are all commendable. That's just one paragraph from a feature in the Business Day today. And all that pointed to no flaws at all. Nifemi, indeed, it's beginning to look like, yes, we have arrived.
No. I think...
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's where we're getting it wrong, because the question is, what is the standard upon which we are judging ourselves? Are we judging the success of this election relative to what happened in Anambra? Is that the world acceptable standard for conducting election? Are we placing this side by side with the 1993 election that Nigerians judged to be the freest and fairest? What exactly is the standard? I think that writer would have used the word superlative because he could recall what happened in 2011 and the tradition of electoral processes being disrupted by violence, especially what happened before now in Ekiti, the Idosi, the Oye saga. That is not the standard to measure the success of election.
Indeed not. Well, the same writer did say the conduct of the election by INEC has also convinced Nigerians that the electoral umpire was indeed very sorry for the sham of an election it superintended over in Anambra in November last year. Unlike the Anambra polls, there were no complaints about missing names of voters on the register.
No doubt we're not where we used to be, but we're not
there.
We should be. And that should formulate and guide the way we handle and celebrate the outcome of the elections in Ekiti. And that's why it's important that we indeed x-ray and find out the intrinsic content of issues as they arose in Ekiti. Earlier, you were talking about the need for disenfranchised voters to go to court. And I was going to take you up on that because when you talk about courts in Nigeria, I was with a professor of law recently,
Issa Sage,
on our program Judiciary Today. And I was asking him categorically that how independent is the judiciary as an arm of government? Of course, we know that the legislature makes the law, the executive implement, but then the judiciary is saddled with this responsibility of interpreting the law, you know, in accordance with the provision of the Constitution. And he didn't mince words to say that the judiciary is independent in finance, you know, in its operations. But I was not also very comfortable with this position as regards the independence of the judiciary, because if you place it side by side with the average Nigerian perception of what the court is, you made mention, you know, of one earlier. Nobody wants to go to court. I was with a legal practitioner somewhere in Benin, and he talked to me about how he was molested by you know, a Nigerian soldier, and he said, well, as a Nigerian who knows his right, I went to court. And then I asked him, what year did you go to court? He said 2008, 2014, they are still in court. You see, the length, the procedures, you saw what happened in Anambra.
That
As
does not.
shady as that election was, the winner came out clean even via the courts because there was nothing, you know, tangible to hold on to.
Well, it will be erroneous, to say the least, to take that position that the Nigerian judiciary is not independent. Per se, I mean, you did mention the area of finance. Finance is one of the baddest, if I can use that word, the baddest area that the judiciary is dealing with. Because if you, they're not, the government still dictates the finance of the judiciary. So in terms of finance, they are not. They definitely are not independent in that regard. I mean, the judges are being taken care of in some states. For instance, in Lagos State, judges are being treated well. But the judiciary, as it were, the administrative way the judiciary is being administered, you will know that they are heavily handicapped in Nigeria today. That is one area Professor Sagi was discussing with you. Well, the issue of independence, the judges will only work within the parameters of the law before him. And there is a guideline with which you can do so far take decision as a judge. The judiciary in Nigeria, I wouldn't say is evolving to a level as regards the political red. Yes.
We have a call from Olajide
in
Akin,
Katsina.
calling from Katsina. How are you today, Olajide?
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest. Please
Hello,
go ahead
Martin.
with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning, Martin and Nifemi.
You're welcome.
Yeah, morning. Okay. You see, like, thanks for what you have been doing since the day before yesterday. I've been monitoring the instruction and I think I put the call yesterday and the day before. I think, you see what we are discussing this morning, we cannot have 100% perfection.
Okay.
But thank God that we have all seen it, that there's a big difference between what happened in Anambra and Ekiti.
Yeah.
And we want to believe that this is going to be, it's a stepping stone, and it will help in the future elections. Like we said yesterday, what we're supposed to do now is to enlighten our people. It is not possible that everybody that registered will definitely vote. Even if their names are there, if their card is okay and what have you, it is not everybody that will come out to vote. What we need is majority. Look at the case of Osun. The election of 10 local governments were cancelled, and not today we have a ruling governor, because we have two-thirds there. So what is important is to have a majority, and let that majority be the one that has actually spoken. Not that somebody will come over the results or they put what is not there in the result of the election. The listener will see that the majority of those that actually, partake in elections, the result that is given to us, then we should be okay with it. The idea of those that were denied to go to court is a waste of money. We know what happened in Nigeria today. Even if they go, the court may not even address the issue until another election or maybe 2 or 3 elections that will follow. So why wasting time? And nobody will compensate them for doing it. So it's going to be a waste of time, a waste of money. We have not reached that level, definitely. We are going towards it.
It's all right.
It's good that we are commending, and I believe with this commendation, definitely they would like to do more. So let's just continue that way. That's just the money.
Thank you indeed. Thank you indeed. So we don't just knock INEC. Well, but you see, no democracy, and I repeat this with all equivocation, no democracy evolves properly without testing all of these actions here and there in courts. Yes, we say it's what the sort of thing. Unfortunately, even the Nigeria Bar Association was disenfranchised in the national confab because they are not. I mean, they were only given one representation, for instance, and it didn't make sense. Even though majority of those who are there have, I mean, the older ones have some legal perception and knowledge and all of that, there are things to be done with the Nigerian law. Election issue should have a court process of its own. It's not just a tribunal. So that I suspect it is one of those things that they always report, recommended, which is still not being carried out because it's been taken in piecemeal just to add to our electoral law. So that there should be a time limit. You can't go to an electoral court and waste time.
We have another call there. It's Abdul from Abuja. Hello, Abdul. What's the mood like in Abuja today? Are you there, Abdul?
Yeah, I'm there, I'm there.
Yes.
What's the mood like in Abuja today?
Yeah, coming from Abuja. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Yeah, the atmosphere actually is calm in spite of the incident yesterday, the bomb blast to be precise. So I've not gone through towards the air this morning with happening there. I'm still at home in my house in James Village in my place around get one. Yeah, but I think from all indications, it's calm or in the time of security of Israel. Actually going around, what about the number of businesses, making sure that accidents are not, being turned into bad footage, the confusion away. Because they still is fear in other people, particularly with the residents, because they find the devastation is quite disheartening, the way things is happening. We are all in a very serious mood now. We're in a very bad mood. Well, we thank God. We'll keep forging ahead, but we pray that this will not happen again. And we're urging our security to please remain on top of the situation like they always tell us. And that is my take. But coming to your issue, election, I think from what I have seen so far, my better experience is regards to the security operating the way and manner. The security, up forward, even down there. Because, the number of restrictions I feel different. To me, I feel with the neighbors. Because if you are sending these number of helicopters, Ekiti, technical carriers, and that number of army, if we don't have those elections, it's going to be across the country. So we don't have that number of police that will mar that
The general election.
each and every state election. So I think the lesson for us to learn here is to allow people let the NOA go on and educate electorates on how to go about their what they call it, exercising their civic responsibility, not, putting that much number of security in place. In fact, some people may be afraid because those who are not exposed, when they take the security, sometimes they threaten them. It's like you are intimidating them. So that is just my fear for it. I think we should learn to allow civilians. And when you go to electoral act, American 11th Electoral Act, talks about security, that we don't allow arms and ammunition around the polling booth. To allow electorates to go there, candidate. But before that, we need to go around and educate electorates. So that's without need much security to frank, they will be traveling in Ekiti. So I believe that will not be used in the election because I think the election is the next place that we want to test again. Thank you. And that is my take.
Thank you very much.
Thank you from you.
Deliberation.
Oh yeah, thank you very much, Abdul. It looks like Abdul turned a new page in this discussion, talking about how security would impact on the success or otherwise of elections in Nigeria, especially now that we have terrorism so much in northern Nigeria.
Indeed.
It's not only limited to northeast Nigeria. It's entering into North Central, and just like what happened
We've seen
last night.
Kaduna and Kano.
You know, earlier before that, there was this discussion of whether elections would hold in those states under state of emergency, and people were already comparing the situation in Nigeria with what happened in Afghanistan. That if elections could hold in faraway Afghanistan, irrespective of the threats from the Taliban, then we should not disenfranchise the northeastern people.
We're not in the same circumstance.
That brings us to the question of how ripe, you know, is Nigeria holding elections without so much of military presence? Because just the day after that election, the Nigeria police force was out. Well, we have Rotimi calling. Rotimi from Ekiti. How are you today, Rotimi? Hello, Rotimi.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Yes, my name is Rotimi. I'm calling from Control, Lagos.
Go ahead with your contribution.
I want to comment on what the leaders have been saying, what the contributors have been concerning the election in Ekiti. Like I said the other time, election in Ekiti was free, but it wasn't fair. Let me play to ourselves. I'm a citizen of Ekiti. I registered in Ekiti. I could not go home to vote because of the heavy presence of police security and every other thing. Because people were calling me that I should not come home. Likewise, some other people that did not go home because of that. And people were prevented. If about 250 people were prevented from voting, that could have changed the result of the election. I'm not a politician, but let's be plain to ourselves. Why presence of security in the election is so heavy? When we have so many things can happen, that is number one. Number two, why arresting other people from other parties? Why arresting people from other parties? Why you allow people like Obani, people like this guy in Osun State, people like Omishori to go about the streets arresting others, using guns to harass others in an election day? That's not fair. That is not fair. But it's free, and we have elected to learn. People that are saying that everything to go to court or to do it doesn't really, it's not necessary because our judiciary system is bad. It's bad. You instituted the case, you wait till another 10 years before that case is determined. It's bad. They are in a state, I don't know how to describe it. Let's just pray to God. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you indeed.
Rotimi.
Thank you indeed.
Good to hear from you.
I like the idea of, because Rotimi has been very emphatic on the issue that, yes, it may be free, but it certainly wasn't fair because he, as a citizen, could not go to vote.
No.
Not necessarily because of the time frame which they said the states will be shut down for one reason or the other. I have never known anywhere where you cannot cross border to vote and issues like that. I've had to vote in local elections in New York and in the UK, moving from one area, from one state to the other to cast your vote.
It would be too far to be comparing UK with Nigeria.
No. But you see,
you thought about
it is democracy. If we say we are practicing democracy, please let us do it the way it is. If my government accepts that this is a civilian regime, it's not talking about democratic dividends, it's not talking about we are not saying so. We are not saying this is civilian. It may seem so in practice, but the reality is that people were disenfranchised. Over 270,000 plus were disenfranchised, and we say, okay, it's all right. It may not be a fault of us. The law will not deal with speculative issues that, oh, this 270, we don't know how it came by. But INEC suggested, well, these are the people whose we cannot give permanent registration card because we haven't done that. Whose fault was that? So the probable cause of those disenfranchised are the ones that concerns me with this issue. It's a pity I'm being personal here because there are things we leave undone.
Have you thought about it this way, that in this issue, we seem to be between the devil and the deep blue sea?
Jump in the deep blue sea.
Because, you see, the success of the election in Ekiti much of it is placed at the feet of the massive military presence in that state. We got confirmation of that even from people in Ekiti and other local
Suggesting that
government
it's because of the security.
Suggesting that, thugs and other
Could not operate.
elements could not operate.
Wonderful.
Now, the question will be that if the military presence wasn't that massive in Ekiti, are we going to be talking the same and telling the same story, given the precedents that we had? I mean, you recall the rerun election in 2009.
Indeed.
I mean, you recall the jungle justice that took place a few months ago in Ekiti. And those are issues already that gave us the impression that elections in Ekiti prior to June 21 was as if we were sitting on the gunpowder. Many people were expecting that the front page stories the next day will be Ekiti boys. So the kudos for this relative peace is going to the security. That's why I said we seem to be between the devil and the deep blue sea. Do you see a free, fair, credible election in Nigeria or in Osun State or in any time soon without such heavy military presence?
Why not?
How do we achieve that?
The thing is, as long as INEC is able to deliver, the issue of logistics no longer plays a part, which was what we saw. I mean, which was what everyone commended in Ekiti State. The issue of logistics was not a problem any longer, not as we found in Anambra. The issue of people missing on the register was not there. This is part of the issue that people get rather emphatic about. These are some of the causes that were taken to court, to tribunal, at each of those cases that were decided, which INEC was called to testify and release materials to them to say that this was what happened in such and such a place. The matter that you referred to as a sham. You see, these are legal issues. These are legal issues that we cannot run away from. But the fact remains that because they have done it here, whether because of the security of the place, which is what afforded INEC to perform the role as credibly as it seemed, so shall it be. Well, let that happen, and we will have credible election. Whether it's going to be free or fair is a subjective matter. We wait and see.
The next port of call will be in Osun State, and everyone is on its toes, especially the All Progressives Congress
candidates.
Candidates rather, picking one point or the other in the lecture room or finding and finding out what can be done. And of course, it's Arebe Shola on the spotlight saying that what happened in Ekiti was a fraud, and it won't happen in Osun State. And you can see what's happening from Ikirun to Ile-Ife is re-election rally attracting massive crowds. But then we have learnt our lessons from Ado-Ekiti and Ekiti generally that crowds at rally don't win election. Otherwise, it's actually the vote count that are cast on that day that determine. But beyond all of that is the issue of the criminal background of candidates. And I want us to touch on that very quickly, because that was one of the issues that Fashola made mention, that Fayose that won in Ekiti was taken to court by his own party, aftermath of 2006. And people are saying that, well, he was not convicted. As a matter of fact, that brings us to the efficacy of the judiciary that you made mention earlier. This issue has been in court since 2006. We're in 2014, and what's his name now? EFCC is saying that we still have a case with Fayose. As a matter of fact, he will have to go to court before,
Let's take the caller, then we'll come on to that. Yes, hello, good morning.
Hello, morning.
Hello.
Morning to you.
Hello. Yes, from Lagos. I want to add to the guy on my left-hand side that said the very presence of security men in it does not affect the election. I want to tell you that the heavy presence of security in it can really have an effect on the election, because elections are not rigged at the polling. Election I've been a party agent. Whereby I've been at the collation center. Election and read at the collation center. Whereby the other party we are not allowed to be there. Every person of the security can be a key to whereby those other parties will be driven away. I listened to a report in this your station on that election day, whereby you said your reporter from Osun, people from Osun, we are not allowed. We are carried to the order of the state, and they are showing the way out of the state. Why? Our reporters party against, our reporters politicians. So why did they not allow that? Because the president of the military could be a tool. We know what is happening in Nigeria now. We know Nigerians are law-abiding. We are naturally law-abiding. Go to anywhere outside Nigeria, you see, I was in London, I see our minister on key. Why did they kill at our airport here? Because they were surrounded by the police. That's why they did not kill them. That's why they did not kill in Nigeria here. So, the evidence of military could be a tool to rigging of elections. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed.
Thank you once again, Rotibi, for calling. We're talking about the criminal record. And,
Yes.
in quick reaction to that, many are saying, well, everyone in Nigeria is a thief. It's just a question of who steals most. Don't you think that should also be critical, into the regulations and the requirements of INEC for gubernatorial or whatever it is, political candidates in Nigeria?
Well, I wish we have the electoral law here as amended, as well as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because anyone who is a bona fide Nigerian can be voted for and can vote if you are of the age. In the case of whether you are eligible to contest with criminal records on for you, the law says if convicted. The reality is the matter is sub judice, one, which means it's still in court, it's still ongoing, he has not been convicted. So we cannot say for that alone we will deprive the person that is in question here of the ability to contest. Yes, Governor Fashola says he's a senior advocate of Nigeria. We know the antecedent of this man. We know the criminal record
Just a
of
minute.
this person.
We have
Yes,
a call
sir.
from Port
Hello.
Harcourt,
From
Liverpool.
Port Harcourt.
How are you today?
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Liverpool. We're with you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Go
Morning
ahead
to
with
you.
your contribution, please.
It's not Liverpool, Mr. Liverpool, the next wrong. Okay. You see, in Nigeria here, what we are seeing that they are calling an election is not an election. Because there is no how that
Are you there?
You see that somebody will be on his seat and will be contesting an election, which is registered in our law and it's free. You know, such a thing. Such a thing is not good. And another thing is this: the way that the federal government is using military is not in the right sense to be using military in order to participate in elections. I think in the name of the security. You know, it's very, very uncomfortable. In the name of security, which is very, very costly. And another thing is this: this is a challenge to the country. Military is a defense of the country, not something like all this, something like a police movement using such a thing to the political affair. You know, a political affair. It is very, very wrong. You know, some people have been being humiliated and tortured and killed in elections are Nigerian citizens.
It's all right. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you indeed.
All the way from Port Harcourt. Good to hear from you. You know, the issue of the judiciary being subject to politics.
Yes.
You saw what happened with the case against Abacha Sod, whereby the federal government struck it out. And there are already reactions, people saying that, well, the case against him for looting lots of Nigerian funds is struck out because of the support he's going to give to Mr. President in Kado.
We should not go there because that is speculative. That is speculative. You're talking about the judiciary.
Earlier. I said some people
that
are
is
saying,
speculative.
but what I'm saying here is that in a situation whereby somebody, because of his political affiliation, I mean, we've seen a lot of them, Shay. You don't talk to me as if you're not a Nigerian.
No,
we have seen a lot of people who have political affiliation, who have cases to answer in court, but nothing comes out of it. Fayose will become governor in August or October this year. The moment he steps into that office, the immunity clause comes to play.
Yes,
that means whatever anybody has against him in court that has been effect a lot of years ago, we'll have to wait for another 4 years. So what's the hope that we have in the judiciary?
Let me take solace from what Governor Raji Fashola said this morning. And he talks about the inconsistency of behavior. Here is somebody we know, we have seen. Even it is us, the party, that carries him to court to say, and we took him even away from office. And we're using this same person to say, this is the person that will win that election for us. It tells a story about the inconsistency of human behavior. There are certain things that just doesn't seem right. I tell you, I take solace from that because we are peculiar. And the peculiarity is not just because you are a Nigerian or I am a Nigerian from Lagos State and you are a Nigerian from Ekiti State. No, not because we spoke Yoruba and we understood each other. The reality is there are people who know that this is wrong. This person is not good for the evolution of the politics we ought to be practicing, but this is what we want to use. It's abnormal. Is inconsistent with human behavior, but these are human beings who are taking this behavioral pattern. The issue is they have done it for a purpose. Why? That is why there's a disconnect between the government and the governed, the people. We, the people, are not asking the questions. Are you suggesting to me that all of those who went to the polls and voted and thumbprinted for Ayodele Fayose did not know about the court case that is pending?
Ultimately,
because indeed,
maybe that means that what you have done in the past it
does not matter.
Does not matter.
No, no. It's not what you have done in the past. The matter is that Ayodele Fayose has not been convicted by a competent court of law. End of story. And that is why somebody says, for that reason, we can still keep him there, even though we know that he's a good man. But my point is, we follow the law. And that is what the law has said, which is why, like I said again, and I re-emphasize, I take solace in what Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola said. It is just the inconsistency of the human mind. You know, some people did that. Why they did it, you and I may not know, but we know where it comes out.
Leadership in Nigeria has a lot of responsibility lying on their shoulders. I mean, from the faith of the Nigerian people in the judiciary to the faith of the Nigerian people in security agencies. I was in a Korodu yesterday, and it was, you could tell, Matthew is calling from Lagos. Very shortly, let's have your opinion in 1 minute. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Let's have your opinion very briefly. Go ahead, please.
Thank you for your wonderful program. Governor of Lagos, Fashola, is saying that condemning our law.
No, he didn't.
That that we don't Fayose a citizen. Why should we allow it to contest? Did he say anything wrong when Sanusi was made a law and ran the case in court? Or we only talk with the next wrong. In fact, we should always be careful and speak the truth. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed. I must say very categorically, he didn't say what you said. Definitely not.
What a relationship between, Sanusi
with Sanusi. I don't know what the problem is with Sanusi
and the Fayose.
I mean,
what a good relationship. But beyond that, you could tell the faith of the Nigerian people in security agencies. I mean, it's zero. they don't believe in the judiciary. And, except we want to fool or deceive ourselves. I mean, these are fundamental
I am not
issues
going to agree with
that
you.
must be addressed.
I am
These
not
are
going to agree with you that the
systemic
Nigerian
issues that must be. How many Nigerians want to go to court? I wish I could open the phone lines and for you to hear what their opinion
That is why
will
we
be.
are suffering. That is why we're suffering. That's why Nigeria is suffering, because we don't like to go to court.
What happens in the courts when you go to court, Shay?
It is important for us to
spend
test
forever
this
there.
issue in court. Whether yes, we know that, I mean, justice delayed is as good as justice denied. But some people say it is the lawyer. Yes, we bring it back. And I did talk about the administrative process in our law courts, that these things we hope will change and will give us a course in the right direction.
Well, very shortly.
But anyway,
it's been a great time on the show today.
Indeed,
we have to go now. The past, they say, is only a story told. The future can still be written in gold. And in the local parlance here, they say that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. We can still rewrite our history as Nigerians, and you and I do have the responsibility of making it happen. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.
We'll see you in the morning. I am Sheyi Martins. God bless you.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.